So you get that debate topics right now. And because this is a rework and because this is the first time it's happening, I decided to make this a Test Your Might remix episode, which means the 4 topics have numbers, and the guest or the co-host gets to choose which one they'd like to start with. Mike, since you are the guest today, you can choose 1, 2, 3, or 4 to start off.
I asked you to be done with this joke, please.
Oh, there's a please there. I have to now.
Yes, right. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I get to choose?
Yeah.
Let's go with number 3.
Number 3. So this is going to be the John Wick that I talked about as well at the top of the show. Lionsgate is shopping the John Wick license to a AAA studio. So who should make this John Wick game? Which AAA studio should do it? Mike, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All right.
John Wick, right? The movies are awesome. I love the trilogy that's out. Mm-hmm. Obviously, a 4th is coming. Obviously, number 3 left a little bit to be desired, but I still enjoyed it. John Wick, the original, is one of my favorite action movies of all time. It's probably in a lot of people's top 10s when it comes to action movies. And Keanu Reeves is awesome. But what you glean from a John Wick movie is movement. There's not really too much spy elements or anything like that. There's not a lot of sneaking around. It's movement. It is fighting, whether or not that's hand-to-hand combat or throwing something at them and then
fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, knives, whatever. And it's also shooting. And there's a game that I've played recently that has really intrigued me for a John Wick developed game, and that's Arcane. I really think that Arcane can nail a John Wick video game based on their movement, based on their gunplay from their recent game, Deathloop. I really think that sets a precedent for the John Wick game that they're going to be making.
All right, Cicero, over to you. He's got Arcane Studios. What do you got? Or did he take?
So it has to be a AAA studio.
Oh yeah. Well, you could fight for a less AAA studio as long as it's a better game.
Since it has to be a AAA studio, then the obvious answer is, what do you want? You want an action-oriented game that where there are car chases and some stealth, right? It's not a lot of stealth, but it is like you're moving around kind of tactically. You're getting involved in all sorts of stuff, but there's going to be a lot of gunplay, and there's going to be a lot of hand-to-hand combat. So you want to be able to see this in third person. You don't want first person, which is why Arcane, and those Deathloop comparisons kind of fall flat. But I digress. That is why you want the good folks over at Naughty Dog to make a new version of just this great character in John Wick, where he gets to just run through urban landscapes doing his John Wick thing.
All right. Some early shots fired over there from Cicero at Arcane. Mike, why Arcane and not Naughty Dog?
I think most of the games that they have made with Naughty Dog are, especially when we're talking about Last of Us, and even to a certain extent Uncharted, they're too slow-paced for what a John Wick game needs. And I've watched people play the Uncharted games. Those shooting mechanics, and even in The Last of Us, I've heard the shooting mechanics are not the greatest, and what would be the standard for John Wick we're talking about. And I think that I hearken a little bit back to the fast pace and the movement nature of let's say a game like Mirror's Edge. I know that it would be nice to see John Wick, but I truly feel that this experience could be best in a first-person action shooter, because you really want to be you really want to be in the mindset of John Wick. You want to know what is going to be my next move? What is going to be my next dodge? Who am I going to shoot first next in order to plow down these foes that are coming up against? And that's where Arcane comes in. I think the first person aspect is going to be the best for a John Wick game. And I also think that Arcane's movement style and their ability to implement the gunplay, especially through Deathloop, it's going to work. And one other thing that I do want to shout out is that John Wick, especially going into like the second and the third movie, like they're very stylistic and there's a certain style to them. And if there's one thing that Arcane has, it is style. Like if you see their art style, if you see their art direction, if you see their world building, I know that they can completely nail a John Wick style aesthetic. And yeah, put it in Arcane's hands.
All right, over at Mike with the first person immersion level. Back at you, Cicero. How are you going to implicate Math Jam and Keef the Thief? Some of Naughty Dog's originals in there. No, you can take their new stuff and defend yourself. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, so I kind of feel bad for Mike because he's talking about how Last of Us is slow, and Last of Us is slow. It's methodical, right? It's thoughtful about a lot of the things that happen. So when those action moments happen in the game, they have weight. And that's a fair criticism when talking about John Wick and the action elements of John Wick versus Last of Us. Unfortunately for Mike, we're not just talking about Last of Us. We're also talking about Uncharted. And also, unfortunately for Mike hasn't played the Uncharted games, so he's only seen other people play them. So his commentary about how the guns didn't feel great kind of falls flat. Because if you played Uncharted 4, you'd know that there is a lot of difference between the way the guns handle, even in that game. And that game is old, right? By comparisons.
Yeah.
So if you think about how far they've come since then, being able to actually put together an action game again, where the focus is action as opposed to ambiance and like being methodical, when it can be more frenetic. This is Naughty Dog's going to have a chance to really shine and show what they've always been capable of, something that you haven't been able to see in a while. And again, part of I realize that you really believe this, Mike. But I think you're so wrong with this first person thing. Part of the beauty of watching John Wick is seeing John Wick do the things that John Wick does, right? To other people and all of those things. And being John Wick, looking through John Wick's eyes, doesn't give you the opportunity to witness that stuff, that those oohs and ahs, the hand-to-hand combat and all of the other things that you wanted to do. You don't get a chance to actually see those things when you're playing first person. Another thing that I'll say is one of your favorite games is the Batman Arkham series, Batman Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum. One of the reasons, my favorite game of the generation last year was Spider-Man, Insomniac's Spider-Man. And the reason is the same. You feel like the hero. You actually feel like when you start playing like Batman, that game unlocks for you and that franchise becomes incredible. When you start playing as Spider-Man, playing like Spider-Man, that game unlocks for you and becomes incredible. Both of those games are third person. You don't need to be first person in order to feel like the titular character of these series that you've been watching or consuming in other media. You can do it in third person, and it probably works better.
All right, I like it. I like both of them. I'm going to give you guys each one more sentence, but only to talk up your own argument. Why is your developer the right choice? Not why is it better than your opponents? Why is it the right choice? Mike, one sentence, no commas or no anything extra. Just one
Oh,
sentence.
wow. No commas. Wow. Thanks.
Yep.
John Wick's style of combat is best experienced in first person because of the fast-paced nature of it.
Okay, Cicero, you get a comma. I'm just kidding. No commas.
No commas. All right. Everyone said that Uncharted felt like a movie. Now Naughty Dog can make a movie feel like a video game.
Interesting. All right. Great arguments on both sides. Mike, you had me for a long time. You had me at that first person. You had me at
Then I lost.
And then Cicero mentioned how most of the games that really hook us, our Game of the Year winners, are third person. And the fact that it's first person doesn't change the fact that you're immersed and feeling like that character. It's the gameplay that does that for you. And I feel like definitely first person is good for John Wick to immerse you in that and get that fast-paced nature. But at the same time, not everyone is ready to get that quick shooting action and missing shots that John Wick can do in a movie. Third person would allow you to experience it from a further angle and also enjoy the level of detail that you love from the movies. So I think Cicero won that because of those elements. On to the next fight.
Wrong.
One Cicero. Cicero, you have
Yes.
1, 2, or the blind fight. Number 4.
Oh. I'm going to go with 1.
All right. We've got EA has signed a deal with Marvel for 3 different games. First being the Iron Man game. The second is rumored to be Black Panther. What should the third game be? Cicero, would you like to go first or second?
I'm going to let Mike go first.
Handing the torch over to Mike.
Let's see what kind of Daredevil game he makes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Wow. He knew my character. That's funny. Yeah, EA. This was a wild sort of deal. If
anyone picks Hell Cow, by the way, they automatically win.
Right.
It's really interesting to just see the relationship that EA has with Disney. They didn't do so hot with the Star Wars IP, but they made this deal with Disney and Marvel. And I was reading some things that they said that they're going to be tag teaming and that Marvel is going to be more a part of the creative process. So that I really enjoy. And so EA Redwood Shores is currently making a video game that's coming out in January. And it is a remake of a very beloved Xbox 360 title in Dead Space. And I believe that they, after Dead Space, are going to be tapped to make a Doctor Strange video game.
Good pause.
I am really excited for the potential of this. This is not going to happen because we are just going on a whim. But if it does happen, the fact that EA Redwood Shores is doing such an amazing job with doing a remake for Dead Space, one of the greatest horror video games of all time. And then going back to, I know Justin, you didn't like it, but the Multiverses movie, what is it called? Madness of Multiverses?
Madness. Multiverses
Yeah,
Madness.
That one, it had some really awesome horror elements to it, and so
Agreed.
I think that Doctor Strange is ripe for a horror video game that EA Redwood Shores can make, because they've already got the chops going behind them in remaking this Dead Space game.
All right. I'm hoping the enemy of choice is Nightmare. Cicero, go ahead. What have you got?
So, they're making an Iron Man game. This is a character that flies around and does a bunch of things to kind of help or keep the flame going for a character that's rumored to be getting a fourth movie. They're making a Black Panther video game for a franchise that is beloved and kind of at a crossroads right now, with an upcoming movie a week away, or out this week as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it as it drops. So that's to keep that energy going, to hopefully sell a third movie by the time that video game releases. This game will do the same thing for the MCU, but for a new entry into the MCU, and that is Professor X and the X-Men. X-Men, it will be the third game.
Okay. All right. As Iron Man used to say, the wizard, why Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think that there's been enough X-Men games throughout the years. I don't think there has been any Doctor Strange games, really, if at all.
He's in Marvel Snap.
He is in Marvel Snap. Yeah, I think that Doctor Strange is such a compelling character. He has an awesome story, and he also has great villains. And not only villains, but he also has great set pieces within his comic books. He's able to train with his fellows at Camartage, or he's able to go into these different dimensions and worry about the foes there. But I mean, survival horror or just horror games in general are just kind of on the uprise right now, or they're sort of in like a renaissance. And what better way to implement a character that has many different, scary elements to his villains, his dimensions that he's able to go to. But he is the Sorcerer Supreme. And one of the things that Sorcerer Supremeness comes with is some awesome gameplay. Like, honestly, like in this sort of horror survival game, you're going to be able to conjure up spirits of your own to fight the demons that you're going to be facing. You could have a skill tree of some sort that will allow you to do a little bit more magic. And I just think having those sort of horror elements in it, some tense moments, can really bring out the best in Doctor Strange. And they already have a developer that, once they're done with this Dead Space remake, they already have a developer that can kind of move into that, because they already know the assets, they know the atmosphere that they could potentially bring to the game. I think it's a good fit.
All right, Charles Xavier, why is yours a better fit? Or fight back, whatever you want to do.
Well, as I'm sending you all of the information from my mind, here's the thing. I love the fact that Mike has decided to find a developer within the EA studio, and they're like, and he is like, hey, you guys just did a version of this, do another version of this with this license thing. And that's cool, right? And there definitely has been lots of precedent already to show that that's not the worst idea in the world, and it has worked. But it also has backfired. Here's something that we know that we need, right? At some point soon, the X-Men will be integrated into the MCU. We know that EA knows that the MCU, as of right now, is printing money. So it makes sense from an EA perspective, who also wants to be able to, they want to make money, right? So why not figure out a way for them to be on the forefront of introducing a new group of characters into the MCU via this game? And so imagine having scenarios where you have a stable of X-Men. I'm not sure exactly who it's going to be Wolverine. It's definitely going to be Colossus. It's definitely going to be Cyclops. And, who knows? We'll get Jean, we'll get Storm. And you'll be able to take any of those characters on a mission, and you can figure out how to best utilize their particular powers to resolve whatever the issue is on any of those particular missions. And then sometimes you'll have multiple missions that you'll be able to, or missions where multiple X-Men will be able to go on the mission at the same time. And you'll be able to tag team together and fuse powers and show that it's an actual team. Those are things that will be missing from the Iron Man game, potentially missing from the Black Panther game, potentially missing from the Doctor Strange game that Mike is proposing. Like, doing these team ups, having multiple characters that people can gravitate behind and really identify with, making the game accessible and desirable by multiple people, not just fans of that particular character, but fans of multiple characters and fans of what the future can bring, and fans of the MCU.
All right. Got the cultural relevance and bringing it in at the right time over on Cicero's side. You guys are going to have, excuse me, you guys are going to have one more back and forth, and that will be it, ending with Cicero. Mike, go ahead.
Justin, I want you to hear this very, very carefully. What Cicero has just suggested is that we have yet another team-based superhero video game that there are two recent examples of that not working very well in both Gotham Knights and the Avengers game. We need to have more superhero-like games that are a more concise, tight story that is focused on one singular character, such as the Batman games and the Spider-Man games. Also, why do we have to relate everything to the MCU? The MCU is in such it's in such a mixed bag situation right now. It's not in the best state. I don't know what direction they're going with. And yeah, Cicero is going to come back with, well, it's not going to be an MCU game. It's just going to hype up the level of getting X-Men back into the MCU. But I don't want that. I don't want that. I want more of a single player tight experience that does not bring in a team because we've seen that it hasn't worked recently. We need more Spider-Mans in this world.
Okay, I want to add one more question to both of yours. Who is the villain in both of your games? Mike, did you have a villain in mind? Or
I didn't have a villain in mind because I think there would be different dimensions, and I'm just not up on Doctor Strange lore on the top of my head right now.
No problem. We'll just know that from the argument. Cicero, don't worry about it either. Go ahead.
Okay. Because I had something ready.
That's okay. It's unfair at that point.
All right. Well, so Mike made an argument where he talked about how there were these two team up games that didn't do well, right? And he talked about Gotham Knights, which, was the most recent team up game that didn't do well. And then he talked about Avengers, which was a game that came out a few years back and it didn't do well. But he neglected to mention, maybe he forgot, I don't know. But there was a game last year that was my game of the year. That was a Marvel team up game and Guardians of the Galaxy. That game was very tight. That game had a team.
Controlled one character in combat.
But you were able to utilize all of the other characters in such a way that you didn't even feel like you were only controlling one character. So it proved the point, right? It proved the point of, hey, you can get a team together, you can level them up, you can have a really tight story that you want other people to be involved in, and it can be a single player game where you only really control one character, but you feel like you control a team, and it feels like a team game all the way through. In so much that even the stories, like, you're only part of the story is about you. It's almost equally about everybody else in there, and you care about them equally as much as you care about Star-Lord. It was so good, and that is one of the things that'll make this game so great, is because you'll be able to do the same thing with the X-Men. As they're going through and they're fighting Senator Kelly and the Sentinel program that has just popped up, and you know, all of the crazy machinations that are happening right there, and how you've got to try and stop Senator Kelly while also not seeming scary to the public at large, who is starting to fall, you know, as they're listening to the cable news and all of the propaganda that's coming out, the sentiment about the X-Men and mutants in general is starting to turn based on the information that they're getting on the cable news, all of the lies. And it mimics what's happening in our own real world. It almost writes itself. And thank you very much, Mike, for setting the table for me.
Yeah, so you're going to control Cyclops and tell Wolverine what to do. Try selling an X-Men game to people like that. That's not going to work.
It doesn't matter. As many extra arguments that were added, I think Mike wins this. I do. I think, unfortunately, the tight-knit storyline and the creepy aspect of it, Strange has a lot of enemies, and I think Hellcow could be one of them, for sure. And I think that's what we were missing. You know, we do want that one singular story. That's what was so good about the Batman Arkham series, is that it was tight. You know, sure, Guardians is tight, and it's a great storytelling mechanism, but I don't think we want another team fighter, unfortunately. I don't think we do. Mike hit you really hard with that one. All right, it's 1-1. The score has changed. We have two options left, number 2 and number 4. Mike.
Blind fight. Let's do number 4.
Oh.
All right. The blind fight has been chosen. Are you guys ready?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's lasagna? All right.
Yeah.
You working on your fade?
I got a hair out of place.
Oh.
I kind of see it.
Yeah, it's like right there. It's just,
all right.
like,
Viewers, he's messing with his head.
YouTube.com/@whatthefun_pod.
Right, there's that plug. All right. Thanksgiving's coming up, and I thought to keep it a little festive here.
Is this another food debate?
Negative. Well,
okay.
Partially, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have a choice to make, and it's not an easy one. What is more exciting? Black Friday sales or Thanksgiving dinner? And Mike,
Black Friday
you get to choose first.
Thanksgiving dinner.
All right. Cicero, you got Black Friday sales.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Who goes first?
It's Mike first. You got to choose a question.
You know, some Thanksgiving you actually have mom's lasagna, you know? So depends on where you go. But I've always enjoyed Thanksgiving dinner. It's absolutely delicious. Not only are you eating it amongst family, friends, but you're also watching football while partaking in that. You're also taking a nap afterwards. You know, the meal is great. Like, you are eating so much food. I don't know about your guys' house, but we got cheesy potatoes, we got deep fried turkey, we got some ham, we got, other stuff. Like, it's all great. We got dinner rolls, butter lathered all over it. Like, Thanksgiving dinner is the greatest. And not just because of the food, but the company that you are eating with. And so I will always take family over spending money because I ain't got none.
Cicero, why are Black Friday sales better than that?
Well, as we're sitting down and we're having Thanksgiving dinner, we talk about the game, we talk about that kind of stuff, but we also talk about what we're going to buy over the course of the weekend, right? So if I may, I'm going to take this to Black Friday, aka African American Friday, also Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday.
It's part of the sales.
And say that people are strategizing about what they're planning. People have been saving their time and their energy and holding off for 4, 5, 6 months, getting ready in heavy anticipation of these sales. What TV am I going to be able to get? What games are going to be on sale? What headphones can I get? What gifts?
You don't need more headphones, sister.
What gifts? I'm not talking about just me. I'm talking about the people. But what gifts? What stocking stuffers am I going to be able to find for Christmas for my friends and my family? All of those things, most of those things are purchased in that 72, 96 hour window. And they're all of these deals. That's where most of the stuff that you get during the course of your year come from. Directly from there. It's the biggest shopping time of the year. It's how you set up your next year is during those 96 hours. It can't be topped by a dinner where the turkey is deep fried turkey. Deep fried turkey is great. Whatever.
Yeah,
the
fixins,
fixins are great, but fixins are even better. They're even better on the second day, leftovers after they've had time to marinate a little bit, and your stupid uncle isn't over there messing with stuff, and your knucklehead cousin that's grabbing the stuff off the TV and you always got to worry about. All of those people are gone. So you get to eat all the good food while you're online shopping and getting all the stuff that you want. It can't even compare.
All right, Mike, I want you to just take down the opponent. And I'm going to have
take down the opponent?
And Cicero's going to have the same chance afterwards. Why is Black Friday shop sales so bad?
Because Black Friday doesn't mean anything anymore. There's no such thing as Black Friday. There is, as you said, Saturday, there's Sunday, there's Monday, there's Tuesday, let alone there are places that are running Black Friday deals right now that will be the same as the ones that will come on Black Friday the day. There is I saw an ad for Costco. Their Black Friday starts November 17th. Black Friday doesn't mean anything. So what you can do is you can buy all the stuff right now that are on the deals right now, and then you could spend a good family dinner with your family.
Cicero, why is Thanksgiving family dinner the worst?
Because you have to host, right? And it's great. It's
50% of families do have to host, unfortunately.
Right. Well, so either way, right? Either way, you either go to somebody's house and eat and be uncomfortable and drink and then have to come home and deal with all of that stuff and then not be able to have the leftovers that you really like the best from there home, enough of them home with you in order to eat them later on. Or you're hosting and you've got to do all this prep work and get all the nonsense going, and then you got to have your family over and you're stressed out because ultimately, right, like your families are wonderful. Everybody loves their family and you know, they're all great. But there's one person, not you, but there's one person that everybody's like, this person's coming and they're bringing their famous dish that you know everybody's got to eat and be nice about, but it's gross, but you got to eat it. And then that other person's coming that always drinks too much and then says some stuff that you're like, I can't wait for them to leave, you know. And that's why the next day on Friday, when it's just the people in your house that you love, and maybe better yet, you invite some of the people that you actually like over, and you have a Friendsgiving where you have the people that you actually enjoy spending time with and have that food, and you have leftovers. That's even better than Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's the only reason you have Thanksgiving is so you can have leftovers the next day. Everything else outside of, you know, football is great and all that other stuff. I can watch football tomorrow when nobody else is talking over it and doing all that other stuff. And I can have all the stuff and it tastes better because it's been marinating for a day. Boom, Friendsgiving on Friday. And I get to buy all the great stuff that I want.
All right. You guys get to choose one thing from your topic that is the best thing about your topic. One thing. One food item for Mike, or football, or whatever you choose, and one thing from Cicero's as well that makes it the ultimate best. Mike, what do you got?
Family. I'm a family person, and I just love spending the time with family.
Solid choice. All right, Cicero.
I got my bidet on Black Friday. A bidet is, listen.
God, if that wins in this argument, I'm going to be so upset.
Listen, when you get one, if you have one, you know the vibes. If you don't have one, you're like, until you get one. Then you'll know the vibes too.
All right. That's going to call it. The score has changed.
Uh-oh.
I think Cicero washed away the crappy family members that you don't want to be around on Thanksgiving with his bidet. I think it did. Also, Friendsgiving is one of the things that is very good about the day because you get that food to be marinated. Like he said it best. Marinating food the day after when no one else is taking it off your
Justin.
plate.
I'm sorry.
All right, Mike.
It's all right. I'll go do my Black Friday deals 3 weeks early.
Go ahead. That's the best part about it. The sales never end. All right. Number 2 is the only one left.
I'll pick that one.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
IGN recently had fans choose the best horror video game of all time.
Ridiculous.
Which was Silent Hill 2 over all others. That's all the Resident Evils. It won. My favorite game of all time. Right. Nice. So I want you to pick a horror movie. I know we're out of Halloween, but we've got a little bit of residual horror scariness coming. One horror movie that has never had a game, and I will be Googling to find out, that would make a game crossover to trump the current leaderboard. Cicero, would you like to go first or hand the torch to Mike?
No, you know what? I'm going to go first.
All right.
I'm going to go first.
What movie? And then I'll come back to you. Just go with the movie title. And then
go. Oh, okay. Just go to the movie title.
Yeah.
2016's Don't Breathe.
Okay. Mike, movie title.
Black Phone.
Oof. All right, Cicero, roll it out. Why should I not breathe?
All right. So Don't Breathe was
Please breathe.
Right. Don't Breathe was a film that came out in 2016, set in Detroit, where these bank robbers, or they weren't bank robbers, they were robbers, and they were robbing houses and stuff like that were kind of dilapidated, whatever. They found out that there was this house that had some money in it. They broke into the house. The guy who lived in the house was blind, and he happened to be home, and he happened to be very, very dangerous. And he was killing the people that were in the house, in his house, illegally.
Also had a big dog.
Yeah, and he also had a very big dog. Yeah. Your goal is going to be, you're going to play as one of those robbers that's in this house. and you've got to try and escape.
All right. With the money or without the money, just get out with your lives.
Well, that's part of the game. Like you could, there's multiple endings.
All right.
Can you go out? Can you get the money? Can you get out?
All right, Mike, the new age child horror film, with a creepy supernatural sense. Black Phone.
Mm-hmm.
Why and what is your game going to look like?
First of all, watch Black Phone. If you're not okay with like child abduction, I'll just be blatantly honest. Then don't watch it. Stay away. So, anyway, Black Phone. I really enjoyed the movie, and I think that a video game would really, really work in a narrative sense. Not necessarily like a Telltale like type deal. I think there might be some quick time events in this sort of game that I'm building, but more so this is going to be a puzzle mystery. And you're going to be able to play as two characters, one of which is the kid's sister. His sister is on the outside, and she has sort of this supernatural connection with the kids who have already been killed, and she also has just this supernatural ability of having dreams. In the movie, she thinks that Jesus is giving her the dreams, and then she curses him out because he's not doing it right. So yeah, it was funny, but I think that it would be cool. It would be a puzzle solver, but the boy that was kidnapped and taken away, he is stuck in this room, and in this room there's a black phone, and the black phone is his sort of portal to the dead kids who have gone before him, and they have all had sort of this like breakthrough in how to escape from this person, and so he is getting these supernatural messages. The rooms, though, are going to be procedurally generated, and so it's going to be a moment where as you're solving puzzles outside and solving mysteries outside with his sister, she is sort of unlocking new characters that give your kid or your person hints as to how to escape the room. So it's going to be like different rooms depending on who is unlocked. So I think that's a really, really cool concept. If you fail, then you just have to solve a little bit more puzzles on the outside to get more rooms procedurally generated for him to escape the big bad. So
Okay. All right. I like it. Unique. Definitely one of a kind. Cicero, why Don't Breathe survival horror?
Well, because that's exactly what it is. It's survival horror. And we've played games like this before. But the twist here is that there are multiple pathways for you to remove yourself from the situation. And it could be with the money, it could be without the money, it could be with one of your friends, maybe you by yourself. It could be that you wind up, if you've never seen Don't Breathe, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a twist there. Maybe you discover the twist.
Gross.
And so you're able to do all of the things that you were trying to do during the course of the movie. The movie's about the main character, Rocky, trying to get this money, steal this money so that she can finally move to California with a young son and start her life anew. So maybe you're able to do all of those things as a result of getting through the film. Maybe you're not able to do any of those things. But that's part of what makes this game so great. I think of what was the game that Kojima made with that PT. That demo. I'm thinking of PT, right? There's a lot of PT vibes in there. This could be the realization of what PT could have been.
All right. We've talked about our own a bit. Mike, why have you seen Don't Breathe?
I have not actually.
Okay. All right.
Definitely should.
It's a great movie. Second one's very good too. Uh, Go ahead and
The
say
second
why.
Don't Breathe.
Yeah, why not Don't Breathe? Or what did you hear from him that just stands out of not being a great trumping
Um,
leaderboard game?
yeah, I mean, despite me arguing for a survival like type horror game earlier with Doctor Strange, I I I
Versatility.
do think we have too much of them, actually, and I think that the spin that I have on this horror movie is a little bit more unique, and it could grab the attention of people within who really enjoy this genre. Um, yeah, I think that Ethan Hawke's the grabber, who's the main character, is a little bit more compelling than your robber guy that's blind type thing. I just like him as a character. I haven't seen the movie, so I might be wrong in that. So, but yeah, I just think that there's elements of this game that are just solely unique, and offer an interesting gameplay mechanic and sort of an interesting experience as you are exploring the supernatural, solving puzzles, and then also that is what is helping give your brother the means to escape these procedurally generated rooms. And obviously, the grabber is everywhere in this. There's going to be jump scares. There's going to be times where even the grabber might be sort of infiltrating the supernatural side with his sister. So I think, yeah, I just think it's a little bit more unique. So
All right. Cicero, have you seen Black Phone?
I have not seen Black
So we're
Phone.
on even playing field here.
We are on an even playing field. So what I will say is that while Mike is right about there are survival horror games there, there've been a lot of them, and this one isn't necessarily unique. I could say that about the film, right? Don't Breathe is a simple premise. The premise is super simple. A bunch of young 20 somethings that are ne'er do wells with hearts of gold get themselves into a situation, and they've got to get themselves unstuck from that sticky situation. We've seen those before, but what made Don't Breathe so great is that they took that premise
Mhm.
and they did something with it that was like, I know this, but I didn't know it like this, right? They added different spices to it that made it taste different. And those are the elements that you can add to this game, right? Like they took a house that was like, oh, there are trapdoors and there are secret passageways in this house. Why do these exist? Like, it just doesn't seem right. And those are things that as you play the game, you can either discover, right, why those even exist, or you can ignore why they exist and just focus on trying to get out. All of those things are right there, and they're ripe for the taking. And that's the brilliance of this of the story of the franchise, of the movie, and of this game, is that you think you know what this is about, but you don't know what it's about. And once you figure out what it's about, you're like, oh wow, this is something. This is something different. I thought I understood this genre. I thought I understood this game. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't.
So, oddly enough, both these films almost grossed the exact same amount in North America.
Wow.
One was
Wow.
at 89.9 and the other was 89.2 grossing. So
Wow.
they are very close in the box office scores. Uh, Mike, I think you got this one. I'm pretty sure you did. Your unique element of having two characters that you're playing at the same time or switching between really adds a different element of that survival puzzle solving, and I like that. You get that exit strategy of I'm gonna get out of the creepiness of this room right now and go and be my sister for a while out on the open, still with jump scares and still keeping those elements, but you're able to kind of like step back. With Cicero's stepping out of that building and running away ends the whole thing. You're free. You're out. You're gone. You don't have that same like
Spoilers. No, I'm just
Outlast.
kidding.
You don't have that same Outlast head rush throughout the entire process. Like with Mike, it's both those elements hitting just right. I think it's very interesting. Also, adding more rooms, unlike the film, would be crazy. Procedurally generated rooms, that would be crazy. So Mike wins that. That is 2-2. And due to the fact that this is a remix and we are trying out this new formula, I have the Metacritic score challenge with a twist as well.
It's a movie.
No.
Oh.
This is going to be the Call of Duty collective Xbox Metacritic total score. That is all of the games added together from the Xbox consoles, which I took the time to go and do. You get to pick a number 1 to 2,000.
How many games?
There's 18.
You should have taken the average. 1
Nope.
to 2,000.
Yep. Look, Price is Right rules. Most of the prices that they do talk about are in the thousands. So this is closer to the game show's classic elements. Same as always, if you haven't heard or seen before, fans,
Is this including the new Modern Warfare 2?
This is including all of the games that released on an Xbox console, which includes the newest.
Okay.
If they go under, if both of them go under, it is closest to the actual number that wins. They both go over, it is the same, unless someone hits it spot on, which I doubt happening right now.
You're not looking up, right?
Cicero?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No. I'm pulling out a calculator. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Calculators are allowed. You guys are going to tell me your numbers in 5 seconds, counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
All right. I'm ready. Are you ready, Mike?
995.
Okay, Cicero?
1,622.
Cicero, that is surprisingly close to the actual total. The actual total is 1658. And that means with a 1622, you are very close to the actual number. Cicero, you are the winner tonight.
Yes.
What do you have to say to your fans for that crazy Metacritic score that you came up with? That's crazy. Maybe 30 off.
Always do math. Always do math, kids.
You carried your ones. Good job.
Yeah, I did carry my ones. Yeah, I want to shout out our guest Mike for
Told you I'm done with that joke.
Well, you said that to Justin. You didn't say that to me. Since I love the fact that he advocated both for and against survival horror and won both times. So I got to respect that
versatility
gangster.
for sure.
Yeah, shout out to you, Mike.
What I don't respect is Justin chose Black Friday over family.
The arguments were better.
Who knows? People can decide.